What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Investing Bros live show. How's everyone feeling today? I'm feeling good. Bitcoin price is down. Crypto price is down. Just as we said it would do. If you had watched this morning's video, you would be prepared for this pullback. The question, though, is why did it happen? It looks like there is some fresh FUD out there that we do need to address and make sure you understand exactly why people seem to be so bearish today. The question is, does the dip continue or is it over? Also, we're going to be breaking down in the show our takeaways from the Bitcoin conference. You guys have seen me and T-Shroom posting on Twitter. You've been in our Discord where we've given little comments, but we're going to go back and forth today. We're going to talk about what it was like being in Nashville for the best Bitcoin conference that has ever happened. What are our big takeaways from speeches from Orange Man, from RFK, and several others? And also, we got some big news coming from Elon Musk when it comes to crypto. What does that mean? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? You got to stick around to the end to find out. But first, smash the like, hit subscribe, and we got to roll our intro. What is going on, teacher? I'm coming to you from the darkness. Are you training with Bane or something these days? What's going on over there, teacher?
I am the darkness, Tim.
Oh, okay.
I am, and I'm feeling a little darker than I deserve over here. So that's how we are. How are you doing, Tim?
I'm doing great. I also have a dark set, but I think that you can see a little bit of red behind me. For those who don't know, T-Shroom and I are once again, even though we're not in a hotel room in Nashville, Tennessee, we're in the same room. T-Shroom, show them proof of uniformity in terms of sets. There you go. If you guys ever wondered, yeah, look, I had a lot of snot the other day, so I had a toilet paper in here. No, I'm not wiping my butt during the show. Some of you might say that. Grow up. Come on, guys. It's a family show. I had to blow my nose. So if you see the toilet paper, I don't want to see the comments speculating on what's happening over at Tim's desk. T-Shroom, it's good to be in the same room as you. For real, though, even though you're in the darkness, we put baby in the corner today. How are you feeling?
Better than I deserve, Tim. And it's definitely, we're not going to make this same mistake again. We're definitely having some weird. If there's any audio issues, we apologize. But I'm feeling good. Feeling bullish, even though price is coming down. I'm actually looking to scoop more up. I'm glad I left some dry powder on the sidelines because looking to buy up some of these lower levels. We may even push a little bit lower from here, but I think that this FUD that we've got today on the headlines, this movement of $2 billion worth of Bitcoin by the U.S. government, I think we'll be able to address it quite rapidly and have some fun.
Yeah. I saw one comment saying echo. Are you guys hearing an echo when I speak? There's a chance that maybe like my voice is ringing into his microphone. It is. You can hear it too on your end.
Maybe just be a little more soft-spoken, Tim. And
all right. So in today's episode of Investing Bros, we will be covering everything that. Now, it's not going to have to just maybe mute T-Shroom when Tim talks. All right, there we go. Before we get going, though, before we do any type of major echo adjusting right here, we have to do this from here on out. We always forget sometimes in the show. We have some big announcements coming out. So starting every single show, we're going to have a little bit of an announcement section. The first thing you need to know is today's episode is brought to you guys by CoinW, not Coinbase. We've actually seen some confusion here recently. CoinW is not affiliated with Coinbase whatsoever, but it is an amazing trading exchange. It is the one that T-Shroom and I both use. So if you are looking for a perfect place to be trading spot, trading futures, and making money during this bull market, check out CoinW with the link down below. And guess what? When you sign up today, you have the opportunity to get over $100 coin absolutely free just for signing up and entering your very first trade. Shout out to CoinW. Also, tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. T-Shroom, what are we doing tonight?
We have Ordinal's Revolution coming on to the 8 p.m. stream over on X Spaces. So make sure you join us over on X and let us know what your thoughts on Ordinals. We'll be talking about everything Bitcoin and everything crypto as well. But we do have a special guest coming on that we met at the conference. So it's going to be a little bit of a continuation there. You probably saw some pictures posted of us hanging out with Ordinal's Revolution.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't even know what ordinals are, this is going to be the space for you. Make sure you tune in at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on X Spaces. If you go down to the links below, you'll find the link to our X account, Investing Bros.
There we go. Eric Wallen says Tim can't be soft-spoken. He's built like a barrel. That didn't hurt my feelings. That's fine. What I will say is I really did look. It's one of my favorite things about all of. Is the mic completely out when you mute? I don't know. Someone's saying mic out. Was the mic off the whole time? Oh well. Comments going back and forth. What I was going to say is one of my favorite things about conferences, and we're going to break down this a little bit more later on the show. It absolutely is when we get to meet some of you guys. So met several people, and we're going to talk more about that later. Biggest comment I got though was about my size. People definitely, I think, appreciated how big I am as a person. Guess what? You want to see how big I am in person? Come meet us next year at the Bitcoin conference. It's going to be a blast. Tickets are already on sale. They're going to be meeting next year in I almost said New England. I don't know why I said that. They're going to be meeting in Las Vegas. So if you're excited about next year, come see the bros in Las Vegas. Let's go ahead and check out our screen here, T-Shroom, checking out the bubbles. I still see people talking about audio, but hopefully that is delayed. Hopefully everything is soundproof. Give us a 17 in chat, just because I like to see two numbers. If audio is fixed and doing well, put a 1-7 in the chat. Bubbles for today here, T-Shroom. We're looking at a mixed result here. There are some big green bubbles, but there's also some big red ones. Biggest gainers is looking like rip-off Bitcoins. We got BCH over here. That's Bitcoin Cash. And BSV, which is just Bitcoin SV. They are not the real Bitcoin. Do not recommend actually investing in those. But if you did for some reason, and that's completely fine, if you like to invest in the rip-off Bitcoins, you're up today. That's something you could be happy about. Some of the bigger losers here, coins that we do like. I think the Investing Bros portfolio probably a little down when I'm looking at ICP down 4.4%, NEAR's down 2.9%. Didn't mean to click on you right there. Sorry about it. Jasmy's down 2.8, Stacks down 2.1. As a whole, nothing necessarily crazy. We actually got a little bit of a boost to start the day, the last 24 hours off, but in the last couple of hours since this morning, there has been a pullback in price action. Once again, though, if you watched our morning video, you were prepared for it. Hopefully, you guys were able to scoop up a little more on the dip. The good question, though, however, is will we go further to the downside? I want to start off by letting you know, before we pull up any other indicators, one of the reasons we did talk about Bitcoin pulling back down to this level, I think it actually went a little bit lower than I thought it would, but as a whole, we came back down to this level of former resistance, once again turning it into support. Yes, we've seen several breakouts that kind of look like this level is not significant, but you can see there's been several times where we touch it as both support and resistance. So once again, when you even kind of mirror this with some indicators from Lux Algo, we came back down to an order block and a smart trail, using it as support as I thought that we would this morning. What's cool though is we're already starting to see, while the 4-hour chart showing some signs of weakness, we're already seeing on the hourly chart, the main reason I was bearish this morning, we see a green reversal, we see green momentum, and if you really zoom in here, the beginnings of upward money flow here as well. So is the dip over? I think at least for today, do not be surprised if Bitcoin actually sees a little bit of at least sideways action, let alone move to the upside. There is a breaker block sitting right above us, actually two of them here on the hourly chart, but we hit our take profit. We hit the former resistance level, turned it in support. We see the oscillators moving from this morning being overbought to now flashing oversold. You'll see that on every single indicator out here on the hourly chart. 4-hour hasn't quite caught up yet, but it's not even necessarily overly bearish. Daily chart, on the other hand, though, staying bullish. It's going to be very, very big, though, for Bitcoin to go ahead and break above, if I can fix this for you, to go ahead and break above this bearish breaker block. This is going to be the sign that the bulls are back in control. When we get above 68,500 and we close a daily candle above it, we will remove that major bearish indicator right there, and it will kind of free things up to the upside. Something I want you guys to keep your eye on, though, turning off Lux Algo for just a second. It is a great tool, the best trading tool in the world. Go check out the link down below. Fun fact, in case you didn't know this, T-Shroom, I told you earlier, today, I was checking. We have become, shout out to you guys, we have become the #1 sales metrics for this last month of Lux Algo as a whole. So there is no larger Lux Algo community than the Investing Bros. You guys have been awesome. If you don't have it, you want to be a part of it. It not only gets you a lot of money in the trading world when you trade over there on CoinW, it also gets you into our VIP trading group. So I just wanted to celebrate that. We are the largest Lux Algo group in the world right now. Shout out to the Investing Bros community. Let's go back here to my screen t-shirt. Yeah, thank you for showing that in the description. The thing that people need to remember, even though I'm going to kind of flip-flop here, guys, even though we're breaking bullishly out of this descending channel, and that's very bullish long-term, you still are sitting technically in a spot of lower highs. Until we break above this yellow line, 72,000, Bitcoin is still setting lower highs and lower lows. That's a bear trend. It's destined to flip and go bullish. But not only do we need to get above 68.5 and close on the daily chart just to get rid of this bad boy right, oh, wrong one, hit the wrong Luxago indicator. There we go. That bad boy, that pink breaker block, we need to really get above 72 to change the trend direction and start setting higher highs again for the first time since all the way back in March of earlier this year. So keep that in mind when you guys are thinking about what makes us bullish, what makes us bearish. That is what we're looking at. I still want to remind you before we move on from Bitcoin though, if you are in doubt, I put a tweet out earlier today. If you're the type of person right now asking what's going wrong, is Bitcoin in a bear market now? Is the bull market over? Why aren't we getting above 70,000? Continue guys to zoom out before you freak out. Major bullish formation right here. Even one that some people are going to talk about how it could be a bull flag in play. Guess what? If this does break out in the future, we're talking about a price action all the way up here over $100,000. Do not be freaking out just yet. Also, this weekly chart showing us more recent buy signals coming in. Major reasons to remain bullish long-term on Bitcoin. The only question is, can we move down and go any further to the downside? And I'll tell you this, short-term, I think the answer right now is not yet, at least. Actually, I said I was going to move on from Bitcoin, but I got to come back in here a little bit. One of the things I mentioned this morning, if you guys watched my video, I said I did not like how low the volume was. Let's come back actually over here. This is going to give us a lot of information. When we shot the video this morning, we're talking about being kind of in this area right in here. We didn't quite top out. We hadn't touched 70,000 just yet, but we absolutely were getting very, very close to it. I said, hey guys, look at the volume down here. I do not like it. To get more bullish, we need to see volume come in confirming the bullish movements. Well, sure enough, volume came in, but it came in on the downward sign. This is a sign that right now we got overextended. The bulls were not ready for a big breakout. We had to crash back down, but we're also seeing volume stay increased relative to where we've been over the last couple of days. As we bottom out, that does give me short-term bullish support feelings right now that this was another major buy signal for Bitcoin holders. So are we going to move further to the downside? It is looking to me in the short term like the answer is no. I want to make sure you guys understand though, there is liquidity all the way down here closer to $50,000. It's really about $52,000, but it absolutely could go lower. You've been hearing people say that 50,000 still in the cards. The question, though, I have for you is right now, there's nothing in the news that would make Bitcoin's price fall this far. So in chat, I want you to go ahead and answer, type it in. What would cause Bitcoin? What do we need to see in headlines to cause Bitcoin to fall all the way to 50,000 and remove that liquidity? If we don't get a major FUD article, a legitimate FUD article, we're going to deal with the kind of fake one that's happening today. If we don't see any bad news, Bitcoin's not going to 50K, but if we did, what's going to cause it? Let me know what you think in the comments. We'll comment on that a little bit later on in the video. Really quickly, let's check in with a couple other charts here, T-Shroom. We're going to go lightning round kind of on the 4-hour chart with Luxago turned on and just check in on what some things are doing. Let's look at stacks real quickly. The Bitcoin layer 2 hitting some major support here on the 4-hour chart. You guys see that yellow box? Bullish breaker block. This is a former resistance level we have now turned into support. And you see confluence with this blue cloud right here. If I were to zoom in for you, this blue cloud is the smart trail. It is very, very bullish. But when I turn off Luxago, you are also going to notice, similar to Bitcoin, we have found ourselves in a falling channel on stacks. We recently have broken out. And this morning, we pulled back down to that former resistance, turning it into support. So stacks definitely looks like one that's worth scooping up. If you were to come in, let's go to the hourly chart on the oscillators. We're getting the same buy signal we're getting on Bitcoin. Green reversal, bullish momentum, positive money flow. You love to see it. Let's take a look real quickly at another coin that everyone here in the Investing Bros community loves, and that is Chainlink. Let's turn on Luxago, see what is happening. We've been rejecting on the 4-hour smart trail. So this is something that's going to be very big for the bulls to get up back above. We did pull back down to an order block on the 4-hour, but I'm going to imagine if I go to the hourly chart, there we go. Smart Trail was touched on the 1-hour chart, so that is some major support. Once again, I'm imagining, yep, there we go. If I were to full screen our Lux Algo Oscillator, we actually don't have our buy signal in just yet. We do have the green reversal. We do have the green momentum. The money flow is still negative, but see that bright red right there? Anyone who's been trading with Lux Algo knows that this is excessive sellers in the space. While they're present, price is suppressed. When they leave, price often has a pretty aggressive rebound to the upside. We have 2 of the 3 major touches we need. All we're waiting for is some positive money flow, and Chainlink on that 1-hour chart will look to probably bounce back up. We are currently under a buy order that should send the price back above $14 before the next level of resistance over the next couple of days. So keep an eye on that one. But this is another one. Let's just go to continue to kind of zoom out here. I didn't do it on stacks, but take what I'm saying with Chainlink and Bitcoin. When you zoom out, there still is so much bullishness happening. The Chainlink had a recent buy signal coming on the weekly chart, something that historically has been a great long-term buying indicator for any Chainlink holder. If you scroll back through its entire history, every single time we get that flash, it has been a great buying opportunity. Once again, do not be freaking out just because the price has been a little boring. Make sure you go ahead and lock on in for some of those long-term holding situations with Chainlink, with Bitcoin, with Stacks, and several other altcoins. If we have time at the end of the show, we might come back and do some more altcoin discussion. But real quick shout out to someone in chat that we had the pleasure of meeting and spending a lot of time with over in Nashville. Amy Lives Crypto. Shout out to her. She's one of the newer content creators. But I'll tell you this, guys, I think there's a very bright future. T-Shirt and I actually discussed this on the way back. Keep the name Amy Lives Crypto in the back of your mind. Go follow her on YouTube, on X. I think that she has a very, very good chance of being one of the top female crypto analysts out there. And I'm not just blowing smoke. If you guys get to know her, meet her, see her stuff, you guys are going to be very bullish on the future of Amy Lives Crypto. Good to see you in chat, Amy. Shout out to you. T-Shroom. I know we have to go back and forth with this audio stuff. Before we transition into some of our news stories, I asked a question in chat. I want to get your answer. What do you think would have to happen for Bitcoin to revisit $50,000?
Wow. Well, definitely this $2 billion would need to be sold, right? But even that I don't think would do it, because we just saw what happens when you sell $3.1 billion worth of Bitcoin, because Germany did it, right, over the last 4 weeks. So I don't think we would even get down to 50 from that. So it would have to be a double whammy. It would have to be, something along the lines of that $2 billion getting sold, which we have reason to believe that's not going to happen, along with something else, right? Maybe China or maybe another country saying that they would never buy additional Bitcoin, and that they're moving Bitcoin onto a wallet to sell, onto an exchange to sell potentially. The truth is right now that I think that the market is looking to explore higher, is to try to test this upside, right? That's what we've just seen. We've just had some FUD that's brought it back, and kind of questioning that movement to the upside. But I think that's where the market's going, is going higher. If we do get a test lower, I don't think that we see 50. I think if we were going to see 50, we would have saw it earlier in July. I don't see it. I don't see it from here, Tim.
Yeah, again, I think you and I are on the same page there. With that said, though, T-Shroom, I know we've got a handful of news to get through. You mentioned the big FUD of the day, and that is, in case anyone missed it, I think you can pull up, I don't know if we have the headline or a tweet,
we got
but I'll introduce it and you're going to go into the details. A lot of people looking at reports today that the American government just moved $2 billion worth of Bitcoin to an unknown wallet. Now, we're going to talk about what that rumor is. We're going to talk about actually what a rumor of that's not so bearish, is actually very bullish for Bitcoin, is out there about what that $2 billion is. But I want to start off, T-Shirt, before we even get into the details of it. I want to make sure people understand. Anyone who thinks that this is legitimately happening, I want to just kind of think about this for a critical second. If it's true that the U.S. government is preparing to sell $2 billion of Bitcoin, and they do sell $2 billion of Bitcoin, I believe that would actually be extremely bullish, and here's the reason why. What is the new president or the new Democratic nominee President Unburdened is what we're calling her. What is she trying to do right now? She is trying to convince crypto holders that after 3.5 years of being a part of an establishment that's an anti-crypto, she's trying to mend the fences. Anyone who's watching this, I want you to know whether you plan on voting for her or not. This is something we should celebrate. We should not be upset that a presidential nominee is trying to restore relationships with the crypto world. This is what we want. If you are pro-crypto, you want all three of our potential presidential candidates to be pro the crypto space. So anyone out there trying to get upset about her doing it, rethink that. But here's what I'll say. I think there's an echo again with your mic on, T-Shims, so we're going to have to keep going back and forth on this one. We'll probably tomorrow have to find you a different location than being in the room. Anyway, my point here I want to make is, if it's true that the current administration, led by Sleepy Man, or I think we can say his name now, Joe Biden, if he is actually planning to FUD Bitcoin by selling it, it would crush her any momentum she is trying to build with the crypto community, and therefore it would be a big swing in the direction of Orange Man collecting all of those votes. I don't think that's actually what's happening, but I want you guys to even think about that. If it was true that the U.S. government was about to sell, it would be bullish long-term because it would swing more momentum into the camp of Orange Man. But T-Shroom, let's get into it a little deeper. Let's get into the details, the facts, and what that money actually probably is.
Well, there's a good chance that I was muted while we were promoting this one section. This is the X Spaces. We're going to be talking about this very topic as it's developing, because this is breaking news, later tonight on the 8 p.m. X Spaces. So we'll be sure to check that out later tonight. So let's go ahead and get into this story. As it's reported on Watcher.Guru, U.S. government moves $2 billion, with a B, worth of Bitcoin to new address. 2 days ago, Orange Man said he would create a strategic national Bitcoin stockpile, and the government would keep 100% of Bitcoin it owns if elected. So seeing these two in tandem makes you think, is there some shenanigans potentially going on from this individual right here, candidate Unburdened? Well, the answer is no. It doesn't look like it. This is from James Seyffert, someone we know, like, and trust. He's a leading journalist over there at Bloomberg, and he has posted this. U.S. Marshal Service chooses Coinbase to safeguard trade its largest cap digital asset portfolio. So what does this mean? There actually is a TLDR on this. So after a comprehensive process, the U.S. Marshal Service, a division of the U.S. Department of Justice, selected Coinbase Prime as its partner to safeguard and trust its Class 1 large cap digital assets. So what does this mean? It was not candidate Unburdened who is, trying to spook the market and move funds around to show that she's anti-crypto. No, it's not. It's just the money that belongs to the U.S. Marshals. They are moving it into a custody that they feel more safe with, and that's a Coinbase. A lot of people have done this. A lot of institutions have done this. So Tim, could there be more to this? Maybe are we rushing to safety too quickly because of our bias for wanting price to go up and to the right, or is it really just this simple?
I think it's this simple for the format I just kind of laid out before we went going. By the way, guys, I don't know if this is going to fix it or not. I'm going to mute myself now when T-Shroom is. Maybe you're being picked up on my mic instead of the opposite way around. We should have it fixed. I'm going to mute myself when I'm not talking.
We should be good to go.
Anyway, my point here I wanted to kind of say is, again, it would be crushing to her candidacy if it was as simple as the U.S. government selling. I don't think that's what it is. I really think that this story that James Seyffert is bringing, is the most legitimate proposal for what's happening right now. And that is simply the U.S. government kind of pushing money around to certain people. It's actually a sign of adoption from the U.S. government that they're going to create a whole wallet dedicated towards blanked on what it is. I heard my dog barking. It's the U.S. Marshal Services. That's exactly what I think is happening right now. I think it's convenient. I think the price was a little overextended, a little high. This morning, I knew nothing about this, right? When I did my video this morning, knew nothing about $2 billion being moved. All I did was look at the charts. I saw a lack of momentum happening. I saw a lack of bullish buying pressure. I saw a lot of reason for the price to correct back down to at least 67,000. And so that's exactly what I called for this morning. And then an article comes out that doesn't really give us the full perspective. And it makes the price fall back down exactly where I said we should on the charts. So you kind of can take away from that conclusion, or you can take away from that theory, man, that was a good observational time to have manipulation in place and crash the price of Bitcoin so that whales and institutions could buy the dip one more time. I'm going to kind of stick with that as my most likely outcome. In chat, I saw some conversation about when it comes to President Unburdened. We're calling her President Unburdened. She's not the president. She's the vice president. Vice President Unburdened. And some people think she's lying. She's not really caring about crypto. Here's why I think that people should be bullish on the fact that even if she is lying, if Vice President Unburdened is trying to put into her platform that she is pro-crypto, whether or not she fulfills or creates the right laws or not, do you guys know what that would mean? That would bring in millions of more liberal thinking Democratic voters who maybe have at this point, maybe they're following Elizabeth Warren, old Auntie Beth, as I call her, even though we're not technically related. She is shares my last name. She's been on an anti-crypto tirade now for a very long time, but the Democratic Party is pretty much telling her to shut up. Family show, I know we shouldn't say those words. If your kids are in the room, I deeply apologize. But that's what they're telling her to do. They're telling her to be quiet, to stop this anti-crypto charade. And if we did see Vice President Unburdened, trying to come out and be pro-crypto, that would bring even more adoption from retail investors who maybe up to this point had been saying, oh, crypto's that evil, terrible thing. Well, wait a minute. Now, if the leader of the Democratic Party is pro-crypto, or at least claim to be pro-crypto, maybe we should actually start listening to some of these financial advisors and invest in it for the long-term future. I understand if there's a lot of other reasons you do not want her to be president. I can understand there's a lot of reasons you don't want Orange Man to be president. There's pros and cons to every single person that runs for office. We're going to give you a more take on that when we talk about the Bitcoin conference. At the end of the day, you vote however you feel convicted to vote. My point, though, is if every single option you have is running on a pro-Bitcoin, pro-crypto platform, that is bullish for crypto. There's no two ways to put about it. If they're both saying crypto good, Bitcoin good, that is going to bring more adoption, more retail buying. It's a good thing for you who are holding it in your portfolio. That's why I'm sitting here saying this is only, I think it's only like pros and pros and pros and pros. There's whether we have a Republican, a Democrat, or a libertarian or an independent sitting in the Oval Office, Bitcoin has a bright future. The price is going up and to the right. It's just a matter of time.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we'll keep on moving here. Ultimately, seeing $2 billion worth of Bitcoin move anywhere, right, is going to be a little bit unsettling. And it's not old news. So I think some folks were thinking that it was old. So we'll keep moving, though. We'll keep moving, and we'll keep grooving. And we do have some bullish news. The market tends to have a short-term memory, but the halving induced supply deficit should start to take effect from now on. Today's marks exactly 100 days after the Bitcoin halving event on the 20th of April. So here's the chart, and here's the question: is the Bitcoin halving priced in? History suggests it isn't. So as you can see here, 100 days after the halving here for previous cycles, we were at 130% to the upside. Right, and then on down to 400 days, we saw quite a bit of movement to the upside by that point. While over on a different cycle, you can see it was a similar thing. So it takes time, and 100 days is really when the bullishness really gets started, as you can see by these two charts. So Tim, I don't know that there's a whole lot to discuss here other than, a lot of folks who are high IQ, in the words of Orange Man, they remember the halving. They remember what is called the supply shock, and they're asking, where is that? When is that? Well, the answer is 100 days. From the 100 days after the halving on into the future, that is when we do see quite a bit of movement to the upside. Tim, are we going to see this very soon? Is there a reason why it's taking this long? What are your thoughts here?
Again, go back to videos that we created way back in March of 2024. That's this year. We predicted. Let's share my screen real quick. I'm going to show you the chart that I drew, and any OG in chat is going to be able to verify this is exactly true. This is the timeline of which we talked about it in March. Let me turn off Luxo again. Love the tool. Just if you don't need it, creates a lot of noise on the screen. In March, I'm not going to say I said this on March 13th. Let me print that. I probably said it a couple of days later, but it was definitely mid-March. I drew, for everybody here on the channel, I drew this yellow box between $60,000 and $72,000. I also drew this red box with a low of about $55,400. That's why I put it there, and I went a little bit lower, but also I went to the high back here towards almost 74,000. And I told you guys, do not be surprised based off of historically how Bitcoin moves around and after the halving event, this vertical yellow line right here. Do not be surprised to see price fall into the halving and then trade sideways all the way until late August, early September. That's where this box has come from. I have not touched it. I have not edited it. And it's crazy, with the exception of a couple of outlier candles, which I told you would come. We have traded for the majority of the time between March and today, almost to the 1st of August, inside of this yellow box between 60,000 and 72,000. This is just based off of historical movements before, during, and after the halving event. So 1,000% T-Shroom, when we're looking at this motion, when you looked at that article you were looking at, this is right on schedule for being consistent with the history of how Bitcoin performs around the halving event. Let me explain why. We actually go back to my chart here for a second, T-Shroom. There were several reasons why Bitcoin rallied. Of course, we had the Bitcoin ETF causing some of the hype, but also the halving event. With it coming in April, a lot of people knew Bitcoin was going to rally. This is the buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event in Bitcoin. We rallied because of the ETF and halving all the way until March. But then as we got closer to the actual event, when everyone expected this amazing bullish indicator for crypto to happen, they all got disappointed that price would move sideways or downward. Why is that? Because while the retail acts on emotion and current events, meaning they waited until the halving event to feel bullish, smart money, whales, institutions, long-term holders, they understood the game. And the game is you buy before and you sell into the actual news. Well, guess what? We really have not pulled down that far at all since that halving event. I know a lot of people felt very painful when we dropped to 53,000, but in hindsight, only falling from the highs down about, let me see, I think it's roughly 30%, not even quite 30%, 27% from the highs is a very small, very moderate pullback for Bitcoin price. The bullishness is still in play. You just have to be patient. If you want me to show you exactly what I'm talking about, come back here and take a look at the halving events in the past. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, Tim, that's pretty bullish post-halving. Look at where the high was, obviously almost a full year before the event. Look at where the high was for the bull market so far. It was all the way up here in June 2019 at 13,800. The halving event post-COVID, right here on May 20th, we did not see a breakout above that pre-halving high all the way until after May. We saw October of 2020. So yes, did the price slowly go to the upside? It did. But my point here is we don't see a new high for the bull market until hundreds of days. I mean, what is the exact number here, T-Shirt? Let me actually check. This one was actually, we didn't see it for 171 days, almost 200. That's, over half of a year right there until we finally saw new highs. Same thing when you go back here. If you go back to the bull market that I said we were very similar to of 2016, highs for the bull market just a couple of weeks before the halving event, then a fall into the halving, and a slow, long, drawn-out procedure. This one was actually, we didn't see it for months. 171 days, almost 200. That's halving was in July. Over half of a year. We're talking about 5 months. Same thing all the way back over here. If you go back to the 2012 halving event, the high for that market in August 2012, $15. We saw 3 months of sideways action before we finally set new highs. All this put together, what that means, we were not expecting a break above 74,000 until late August at the earliest. And while there's technically still a chance we end up doing it before, we're close enough at this point as we're starting to enter August that history once again has repeated itself. The halving event, while being long-term extremely bullish, very, very bullish. Be patient if you're thinking the bullishness is done. But short term, meaning the couple of months following the halving event, it's right on schedule with being sideways, with being boring, with making all of the regular retail investors like you and me ask the question, why aren't we going higher? I thought the halving was supposed to be so bullish. Are we wrong? Is the bear market here? That's what they want you to be asking. Why? So that you freak out, you FUD out, and you sell your Bitcoin to all of those whales, to those institutions. Let them get rich. You stay poor. That's the game plan. But here at the Investing Bros, we don't believe in that. Whether you have $2 or whether you have $2 million invested in Bitcoin, we believe in being smart with our money, following the trends and following the smart money. And if you've been doing that, you're going to make a lot of money over the next 12 to 14 months.
Absolutely. I love it. I love it. Do we have more news? We absolutely do have more news. Let me get this, though. This was actually really interesting. I just came across, posted 7 hours ago by Tom Dunleavy. He said crypto is now the #1 super PAC in the U.S. with over 200 million raised. Fair Shake now surpasses both the biggest Republican and Democrat super PACs, making America great again, and Senate Majority Dim. This is pretty interesting. I'd love to get a fact check to see if that's true, but it was reposted by Tyler Winklevoss. So I just wanted to bring that to you all's attention because that's that's pretty significant if that's true. Tyler said brought to you by Gary Gensler and Senator Warren. That does actually make some sense there. All right, let's get back to our regularly scheduled stories here. Elon Musk, maybe you've heard of him, says he sees merit in the Bitcoin following Trump's speech at Bitcoin 2024. Let's see. I'm not going to be promoting crypto, at most in a joking way. If you see me pumping crypto, it's not me, Musk said. I do think there's some merit to Bitcoin and maybe some other cryptos, and I've sort of got a soft spot for Dogecoin. We all knew that. Because he likes Doge and memes, dogs and memes. He also said, pretty sure I've never discussed crypto with Orange Man, although I am generally in favor of things that shift power from government to the people, which crypto can do. So this is actually quite a breakage of silence from Elon on crypto. Tim, what are your thoughts here on his neutral statements, I would categorize, but what are your thoughts here?
I'll tell you this. Elon is so calculated with how he speaks. He has been pro-crypto. He's been semi-anti-crypto. He's been neutral. He goes all over the place. He chooses his time correctly. And you want to know what? He's kind of mentioned it here, but he knows. He knows the power he has. If he commented on crypto in a super bullish way, prices right now would be at all-time highs for pretty much every crypto project he would mention. Definitely Bitcoin, probably Doge. Maybe not all-time high for Doge, but at least pushing it. Like if he mentions Doge positively, look out. That's going to be some God candles for sure. If he mentioned Bitcoin positively, God candles for sure. So he understands the game. And I'm going to actually make a statement here. I think that Elon is a part of manipulation. I think more often than not, he's going to be useful for the upside manipulation. But he knows if he were to come out today and say, hey, guys, I'm going to buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin is probably, forget 70K, T-shirt. I think Bitcoin's going to 80K if that's a tweet we saw from Elon on his X account today. He knows that. He's not going to do it. What he's doing is almost being he's being bullish in a way while staying semi-neutral to not pump the price just yet. Why? Well, if he wants to buy more Bitcoin, he's working on buying that. If I was him and had his influence and I'm looking to buy more Bitcoin when it's down here below 70K, I'm going to do just what he's doing and say, all right, if I say something bullish, it's going to pump price. Let me buy a little bit more, and then I'll say something bullish just a little later. But with him saying there's merit, you got to learn how to read between lines here. When he says, I see merit in Bitcoin, he's referring to Orange Man's speech at the Bitcoin conference, which we will talk about here in just a couple minutes. I think after the story, we're going to get into a conversation. Me and T-Shirt are going to break down how the conference went, our big takeaways. But I think he's being bullish in a roundabout way without doing a major pump to the Bitcoin price, to the Doge price, to the crypto price as a whole. I'm going to be very surprised if we don't hear a major announcement from X in the next couple of months about some form of crypto adoption where you will be able to send, purchase, and do a lot of crypto exchanging on the X platform itself. He's already said he wants X to be the end-all, be-all website that you can go and you can look up news, you can have social media, you can interact with your friends, but you also can do everything financially you need to. There's no way to do that unless he also goes big in the crypto space. With that said, though, once again, if I'm somebody who has a company that wants to go big in crypto, but it's going to take me some time to acquire everything I need to acquire, but I also know my words will pump the price, why would I use my words to pump the price if I'm in the back end trying to load up for a big, big bull run? I think you got to learn how to understand the way these people talk. I see this as a very bullish sign for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to hear your perspective as well. We're seeing a lot of people kind of taking the upper and the lower of what we're saying here. You can join us today in our X Spaces over on Twitter. You can see X Spaces right above me at T-Shroom. That'll direct you to our X Spaces, but it's at Investing Bros on Twitter. So definitely go ahead and check that out. We'll be going live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be joined by Shizzy and others from the Ordinals Revolution crew. It's going to be really, really fun. And I think we're going to have a lot more folks on today to kind of share their opinions because the Ordinals Revolution crew are pretty vast here on Twitter. And so we're going to be really excited about that. Also, for those of you who are interested, we have a factoid of the day, Tim. Are you ready to go ahead and jump into the factoid?
This is going to be a very fun exchange because we have to mute and unmute to say this. Tomorrow, we definitely will be in different rooms. We thought we could get away with it being in the same room today. I don't know why. We have good soundproof in this room. I don't know why the echoes are happening and we're picking each other up on our microphones. But yes, T-Shroom, I am ready. And after that, we will get into Nashville. What happened? What's our takeaway? Are you bullish? Should you be buying right now or should you be selling? Here we go.
Absolutely. Well, today's factoid of the day is brought to you by CoinW. If you're looking to get into crypto trading, look no further than CoinW. And right now, you can actually earn up to $100 for free. Go to the CoinW link down in the description to check it out. Tim, we accidentally said it before in the show. What is the parent agency of the U.S. Marshals? Is it A, the Department of Justice, B, the Police Department of D.C., is it C, the Department of Transportation, or D, the FBI? What is the right answer there, Tim? And let us know in the chat. What do you think is the right answer? And yes, I accidentally said it earlier in the stream.
Wow. If you said it, I missed it because I don't know. I don't know the answer to this question. My immediate thought is Department of Justice, but I feel like Department of Justice is on the back end. Like they're not looking to make arrests as much as they're looking to prosecute after. So I'm kind of, I don't think it's the police department. I think D, the FBI, but that doesn't seem right either. You know what? Because I'm thinking of A or D, I think neither one is correct. Maybe it's C. And I wish I'd paid attention to you a little bit more because clearly, I guess you said it earlier and I missed that completely. Let's go with C. Wild card answer. What we got?
The answer was A, Tim. Department of Justice. You can see it here. There's the facts. This is on the U.S. Marshals Service official Wikipedia page. Tim, how does it feel to get it wrong?
I mean, I get it wrong. I honestly had no idea. You know what? I'm most ashamed of myself for not hearing the answer earlier than I am than getting the answer wrong in the first place. Good to know. I mean, again, I kind of reasoned myself out of that answer by saying I felt like the Department of Justice was more in the back end of everything. But it's good to know from here on out. I will know whenever I see a marshal, I'm like, oh, Department of Justice right there. Cool beans.
Absolutely. And Turd Ferguson, although Turd Ferguson has said some mean things about T-Shroom on this stream, there was a good question. And Turd, you tune in quite a bit. You turd in and you asked the same question, and I don't think we've ever covered this or in a while. Turd Ferguson says, Timmy, what are your thoughts on Coinbase stock? I own it. I am bullish on it. I think we saw today, Coinbase it didn't actually get all of the $2 billion. Some of that went to a different custodial service for the U.S. Marshals. But I mean, you can see it's getting the fees it needs to get in order for price to go up for the stock of Coinbase. Tim, what do you think, and what do you see on the charts for Coinbase?
Yeah, go ahead and share my screen here. I'm going to start with the weekly chart where, unlike the rest of the crypto space, it's not necessarily screaming the same bullishness that crypto is screaming. Now, we're above the 50 RSI right here. That's a sign of strength. Until we lose that, it's not necessarily over for them, but I don't like what I'm seeing on the Lux Algo oscillator here, where you recently saw some strong bearish divergence. There was a good sell order, reversal, bearish momentum, negative money flow, and the money flow is still negative. We did see a bullish reversal dot come into play. And we're hesitating around the central line there. So I'm not going to be overtly bearish and say there's no way we go forward. It's just not as bullish on the weekly chart as you see a lot of crypto. What I will say, though, on the daily chart, you start to see some positivity that would suggest we really should come back up here towards 283, possibly even push closer to or above 300. And one of the things I love that I'm seeing right now, and it's not bullish just yet, but anyone watching and watches how I use Lux Algo, I'm looking for an opportunity here on Coinbase. Why? Because the money flow is really negative. We have excessive sellers in the place. I don't know if this is going to get severe or if it's going to get turn around here very soon. But watch out for when this money flow and the excessive sellers leave. When we get a green reversal, when we get positive money flow, there will be a flip that happens. How far down do we go? Would not be surprised to see us come even all the way back down to 222, where we do have the daily smart trail here in play. You could even go down to 214, down to this order block, back to levels we were just at here earlier in July. But as a whole, I am watching this indicator right here saying opportunity is coming. Do we go further to the downside? Yes, it does look like that's the case. Weekly chart, not crazy bearish, but not bullish whatsoever. Daily chart seems like the bearishness probably is coming to an end sooner rather than later. The opportunity is coming. I think Coinbase stock is going to be a good purchase in the next couple of weeks. I'll keep you posted if I see something change on that one. But that's where I kind of sit at the moment. With that said, though, let's transition here, T-Shroom. This is going to be a lot of fun. We're, again, have to go back and forth. So we'll try to just speak a little bit longer, not go like have back and forth conversation. Anyone who is joining in, maybe you wondered, man, where were the bros last week? Why weren't they posting morning videos? Maybe why weren't they as involved over in Discord? It's because we were attending the Bitcoin conference in Nashville, Tennessee. It was amazing. I'm going to start off by saying, it was in the Bitcoin conferences I've been to, and I've been to every single one since 2021. It was the best one we have had. First of all, the city, Nashville, 1,000 times better city for conferences than Miami, Florida, where the Bitcoin conference has been in the past. I'm disappointed yet excited, I guess in some ways, to hear about next year's location. I really think it would have been smarter for them to have gone 2 in a row at Nashville. Hey, let's see 2 conferences in a row to see if Nashville's a good future location. But I understand them saying we want to travel and see a lot of different locations, a lot of different cities. They did announce at the conference next year, Bitcoin 2025 will be held in Las Vegas. So anyone from the West part of the United States, you guys won't have to travel as far. Congratulations. I've never been to Las Vegas. I don't anticipate going to Las Vegas between now and next year. So it probably will be the first time that we go. But Nashville, amazing city, amazing location. And I really, really did enjoy being there. With that said, my takeaways from what happened during the conference. First of all, this is an undisputed fact. When the conference opened Thursday morning, the price of Bitcoin was at $64,000. We don't need to go to my chart. This is a radio TA right here. When the conference opened, we were at $64,000. Historically, Bitcoin conferences, especially the big one, which is this one, the Bitcoin conference has usually been a sell the news event, meaning Bitcoin pumps into the actual event. And then throughout the Bitcoin conference, and by the end of it, price ends up being lower at the end than the beginning. But this time, for the first time in a long while, the Bitcoin conference opened at 64,000 and closed at 68,000, making it the first bullish Bitcoin conference, at least since I can remember them being a big deal. That's something that's major. That's a major point for the bulls. It's also something that we predicted on this channel, that everyone was so sure that Bitcoin price would go to the downside. I predicted that it would be a flippening, that we would see it actually be positive. That ended up happening. You guys see some great shots playing some pool with Matt C there. Anyone wonder what Matt C looks like? That's a creepy photo of Matt. Matt is not a creepy guy. He's a very fun, loving guy, but he definitely can get some creepy selfies going on there. It was a lot of fun. Let's talk, though, about maybe the 2 biggest things that happened at the event. What made it one of the largest attended and most talked about events we had two presidential candidates discuss their thoughts on Bitcoin at the conference. Of course, we're talking about Orange. We're talking about Orange Man. Of course, he was the big headline Saturday speaker. But on Friday, the day before, RFK got to speak. And I think a lot of you guys probably have seen clips. If not, if you didn't watch it live on YouTube, I'm going to break down for you guys how I kind of view it. Get T-Stream's take here in a second. And I want to make sure I'll start with Orange Man. I'll start with the man who is perceived or expected to probably be the next president of the United States. There was a lot of anticipation about what he would do at the Bitcoin conference, what he would say, how he would say it, and how people would respond. And I'm going to start off by saying, for someone who was at the conference listening to him, very underwhelmed by his speech. There's just no two ways to put it. Whether you love him, hate him, or anything, it was an underwhelming speech. But you want to know one of the biggest reasons why it was underwhelming? It actually probably has very little to do with how he actually performed on Saturday. It's actually because RFK crushed it on Friday. Anyone who did not listen to his speech at the Bitcoin conference, I urge you, after this live show is over, go find a recording of RFK's speech at the conference. It will leave you jaw dropped. It'll make you walk away saying, man, he's not going to win the presidency. He's not. RFK's not going to win the job. But dang it, I wish he would. Dang it, I wish that was the man representing us in Washington, D.C. He, his voice obviously is very distorted. It has the condition that he has. To me, it's like it went away. I cannot choose a better word for the speech that RFK had than eloquent. It was one of the most eloquent speeches I've ever heard on the topic. It left you feeling extremely excited, not just bullish. You're not just saying, "Oh, great, that's awesome. I'm going to make price go up." It made you walk away saying, "This is the future. This is how the world will become a better place as a whole. Forget the profits you'll make. This is how the world will solve several problems, and this man is the right man to lead the job." It probably made a lot of people who are Orange Man supporters say, "Oh, I like Orange Man, but I would not be upset if that man was our next president." And he, in the speech, kind of called to some things and warned some things. He's like, listen, Orange Man is going to be speaking tomorrow. This is the types of things he needs to say. This is the types of things he needs to do. If he's going to be a good president for you Bitcoin holders, this is the type of thing he needs to accomplish. He kind of, the best way to put it, he kind of challenged and laid down a gauntlet for Orange Man to follow. And I don't think Orange Man did. I think there's a little bit of a want lacking for what Orange Man said in his speech on Saturday. Was he still bullish? Yes, he was. Is he still going to be a good president for Bitcoin and crypto holders? Absolutely. But I'll put it this way. RFK comes out here on Friday and announces that his plan is not just to have a backed treasury of the U.S. with Bitcoin. It was to buy 550 Bitcoin a day until 5 million tokens were owned by the U.S. government, giving the U.S. government 25% or close to 25% of all Bitcoin that could ever be created. That's quite an act to follow. If you went to Orange Man's, not his speech, but what Senator Lummis said afterwards, which is in support that Donald Trump, I said his name, which Orange Man will support, their plan is 1 million Bitcoin in the next 5 years. If RFK hadn't spoken, that would have been amazing. Anyone who thinks that 1 million tokens is not a lot, 1 million Bitcoin, 5% of the total supply that will ever exist, that would be amazing. That would be phenomenal. It's just not as good as RFK's plan. The 5 million, 10 times better. You also saw, again, like him, hate him, whatever. It wasn't a sleepy man type of thing, but it was a rambling of types. I do not believe it was Orange Man's best performance on a stage he's ever had. There were definite moments where he seemed to have gone off script, not abnormal for him, but he went off script and it got weird. I guess it became almost like he got into places he had no idea what he was talking about. It showed a little bit of ignorance. It showed a little bit of ignorance is the right word. I mean, it's just a man who has not fully studied, does not fully understand Bitcoin in the crypto space. Is he still going to be a good president for crypto? Absolutely. And what I'm going to walk away and tell you guys is I'm still bullish if he becomes president, because he will appoint people who are way smarter than him at what's going to happen in the future with Bitcoin and crypto. That's the good news. But if we had RFK as the president, man, that would be a special place for the crypto holders. We would change the world for the better. And it's one of those things. I'll tell you this. My last thing, I'm going to throw it to T-Shroom. I walked away from that whole conference wishing, hoping, if I could get on a phone call with Orange Man right now and tell him the one thing I would like him to do, it would be to find some sort of position in his cabinet for that man, RFK. This is a man, and I'm talking about RFK, he loves his country unequivocally. Do I agree with every policy he would ever have? No. No, I don't. I think I disagree with him on a couple. But he loves this country. He loves people. I like him for his stances on crypto. I like him for his stances on the food industry, on medicine, on how we do a lot of things in the medical field. I hope that he finds his way into Trump's cabinet somehow, some way. And there I said his name again. If he does, oh, look out. We could have an amazing country, an amazing planet, and Bitcoin holders can make themselves a lot of money. T-Shroom, I'm going to throw it to you. What was your takeaway? What do you agree with, disagree with there? What were your feelings about the two men speaking?
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear if people have varying opinions on this because, being there, feeling the energy, as Matt C. would say, I completely agree with Tim. I think Tim's analysis here is right on. It didn't, as you walk away from that Trump speech, after hearing RFK, it was not well rehearsed. Orange Man felt maybe like he was tired, it seemed. There were moments where there was a big pop, when he said that he would fire Gary Gensler on day one. That was very popular. But even that, in that big moment, it seemed like he didn't even realize that Gary Gensler was the enemy of the crypto community, of the enemy of Bitcoin. And so, it seemed like he was a little bit out of touch. I kind of chalked it up to, it just felt like crypto. It felt like Bitcoin. It felt like we were just another interest group among, the auto manufacturers, among the orange juice, agricultural interest groups, among, big steel, among, the teachers unions. We're just another interest group that he happens to be in agreement with. He's given us the thumbs up. At the end of the day, the bottom line is that is bullish for Bitcoin. That is bullish for crypto. But it just felt like, man, I can't agree with Tim Moore here, is like, if we could just have RFK in there, then we would get the administration that really unlocks the democratic potential of Bitcoin, not just for the price to go up. So it likely won't be this administration, the Trump administration, that we see broad-based, widespread adoption of Bitcoin as a democratic tool, as a tool of wealth building for the masses. But this will be an administration where we see people who already have Bitcoin get very wealthy from that, and a lot of unlocks coming to the industry as well. But I don't think that this is the time where you start to hear your aunt, your uncle, your employees buying Bitcoin for the first time because they understand that it is a fixed and limited supply asset. I don't see that. I think it's going to be, a Vivek Ramaswamy in the future, maybe an RFK if there's still time in his future to run again, or potentially even an Andrew Yang, right? Somebody in the future who does understand Bitcoin and that gets into the administration, gets into the Oval Office, into the main seat, not just a cabinet member, and really pushes forward to make Bitcoin a bedrock of the American future. So I'm not disappointed at all. At the end of the day, we are an interest group. We have always been an interest group, and we're going to get what we want, right? Hopefully, in the future, it'll be more than that. But what was indicated by, one of the leading candidates for president of the United States was very bullish for Bitcoin and certainly for crypto. So, and I think, by the way, if you're listening and you're saying, oh, there's a lot of political talk, we haven't really said too much that's political at all, right? This is all just super relevant to the assets that we are investing in or being on the sidelines from, right? And which is crypto, right? If you have a problem with that, then you're not really understanding it fully. And hopefully, a couple of folks who may have been thinking the wrong thing there, that helped clarify, right? We're not thinking about this in a political, he said, she said, we're part of a tribe way, right? This is all just, what are the facts? What are these politicians who are running for a significant office saying, and how is that going to affect our assets? And we do wade into the details of what was said for the purposes of our investments. So thank you all for tuning in and staying tuned in, even if this was insulting or, difficult to listen to because of the political aspects. But
yeah, I agree with you. It's one of those things, we'll say it we'll say it a lot more between now and the election season. You might not care about politics, but politics cares about you. And unfortunately, if you own crypto and you want to make money in crypto, you have to care about politics. Politics is ingrained into the crypto space. But I did love something Vivek said. Ramaswamy, he actually spoke. Not as many people listened to him. Everyone listened to Orange Man and then left. Vivek Ramaswamy was on stage, and he was asked that question about the political affiliation in crypto. And while he acknowledged that it very much is coming across right now, seeming like it's becoming a one-sided issue, that the Republican side seems to be more focused on crypto and getting it passed. He actually warned. He said that's not a good thing. We need to see crypto, Bitcoin, continue to be a bipartisan issue. It should not be a Republican thing. It should not be a Democrat thing. It should be an American thing. It should be a Chinese thing. It should be a Russian thing. It should be a worldwide thing. It should be a thing. If you are a person who values freedom and decentralization, who cares who you vote for? You should be pro-Bitcoin. And I cannot agree with him more on that one. It's something I want to make sure you guys understand. While I was underwhelmed, and I think several people were underwhelmed by what Orange Man said, let's not misrepresent it. It was bullish, as T-Shroom said. He still is saying positive things. Whether he understands it or not, he's going to fight for the rights of every Bitcoin holder. Something someone asked earlier, Osama, there's a bet that T-Shroom and I made Friday. The question was the price of Bitcoin baked in for the assumption that Orange Man was going to announce a strategic Bitcoin treasury strategy? What was the exact words, T-Shirt, we were looking for? It was Bitcoin reserve, a strategic Bitcoin reserve. He never said those words. While the price ended up becoming kind of neutral to when he started speaking to the end, the bet never got entered because he never said the words that we were looking for. Now, after he was done, Senator Loomis said the words strategic treasury reserve. So we know that it's going to happen. But I made a comment about this because I still, to this day, I still believe if the way Orange Man had made his announcement was the correct wording, the right way, it wasn't confusing, I think Bitcoin's price would have pumped. But again, his rambling through it kind of lost its lost its flavor through the whole thing. And he ended up saying, as Amy Live Crypto just put, he said the word stockpile. And I have a theory, and I think T-Shroom, you agree with me. I think that potentially his speech did include the right words, but he got off script. He lost his notes and came up with the word stockpile on the fly, and it was so confusing. T-Shroom and I, we weren't in the actual room with all the speakers. We were in the press room because there was there was a long line. It was a crazy thing. People waited hours to be in the same room as Orange Man. We sat in a press room with about 50 other people, and every single person, not a single person in that room, didn't respond the way I'm about to tell you. He said the word stockpile, and we all, 50 of us, looked at each other and said, was that it? Was that the announcement? Is that all? What the heck does he mean by stockpile? It was a big thing. It's bullish long term, but the joke that I make, and hopefully it's a sensitive joke, I don't want to be unsensitive, is that, man, he was so close. He was so close to igniting the Bitcoin charts to being bullish, but he missed by that much. Similar to someone else in the last couple of weeks, he missed by that much. And that's why Bitcoin's not over 70,000 right now. Is it going to go up and to the right? Yes, I think it is. But I really do think, even though it was overwhelmingly bullish, the long-term perspective was bullish, I think it was an opportunity that he had to really cement his place as the Bitcoin president of the future. I think RFK stole the thunder on Friday, and Orange Man missed an opportunity. I'm not saying he won't get another shot. I think a lot of people, despite the fact they walked away saying that they were underwhelmed, are still probably going to say, but he's the right one for the job in this case. I think it was an opportunity missed for him, an opportunity missed for the markets. But you know what? We're going to stay positive on this channel. You know what his missed opportunity brings? Another opportunity to buy below $70,000. I'm sure there's a lot of you out there who are waiting for paychecks later this week, maybe the next couple of weeks. And guess what? We might have to wait a little bit longer before we actually see $70,000 Bitcoin. And I'm all right with that. My portfolio is all right with that. I wasn't planning on taking profits next month anyway. Wasn't planning on taking profits later this year. I don't plan on taking profits until well into 2025. And for that reason, lower prices simply give me more opportunity to buy the dips. Let me see. Is there anything else I want to talk about there? I know it's a little bit over. We're going to probably wrap up the show here for a second. If there's more, we'll probably talk more. T-shirt, last final thought from you before we close out the show.
Yeah, and the reality is I saw some people saying that, oh no, RFK could win. He can't, right? It's just not going to happen. That there's really not any way that can happen. Just real quick, I will explain. So the reason why it can't happen, for those of you outside of the United States or those of you who don't really care about the political system, haven't taken the time to understand it, there are two parties, right? And there's an electoral college. The electoral college appoints electors to elect on behalf of the state. And then there's some rules that vary state to state. But essentially, who places those electors per state are the political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. And they have zero incentive to ever appoint an elector who's other than one of the two big parties. So until something, now Congress could change that. They could change the way that the Electoral College works, but until they do, there is no chance for an independent or a third party in the United States to win. And those who think otherwise, I'd love to hear your argument. Perhaps I'm wrong. I'd like to be wrong, but that's just not the case. So just to lay that one clean. Also, BX Bricklayer jumping in, said great meeting up with you guys in Nashville. It was awesome to meet you, Bricklayer. That was super cool. And Tim, you had a good time with BX Bricklayer as well, didn't you?
Yeah, shout out to Dominic from the Bronx. I wore your shirt on the way home. I don't know if I have a picture in it or not, but go check out. You'll see it. Go check out Stocks with Josh channel. I did a video with him Sunday morning. I'm wearing your shirt. Dominic was amazing. He was awesome. He got me a shirt. He's now, I think, living in Fort Lauderdale, but from the Bronx. Hilarious personality. Great to meet him. And I told you guys earlier in the video, I love going to these conferences. T-Shirt and I made some great relationships with other influencers. We made some great relationships with potential future sponsors. Stay tuned for that. But I'll tell you this, my favorite part of every single conference that I go to is getting to meet you guys. In case you guys haven't picked up on it by now, reasons you should be a part of the Bros community is I'm here because of you guys. I mean, there's a point years ago when I used to be a part of Coffee and Crypto Jeb. It's time to move on from that situation. I heavily considered saying, you know what, I'm of course going to be investing in crypto. This is the future. But I was going to leave the influencer space. I was going to leave making content about crypto and go kind of into, I guess, what you would call a normal job. I mean, I don't know a better way to put it. And it's because there's a lot of people like you guys who said, no, Tim, we want you to stick around T-Shirt. We want to continue to hear your guys' thoughts. We've continued this channel, and it's been a smashing success. And while I love meeting the other influencers, I love investing and trading crypto, I am here because of you guys. I want to see myself grow in wealth. I want to see T-Shirt grow in wealth. I want to see you guys grow in wealth, and we're going to do it together. So any conference you guys can, come out and see us. I love meeting you guys. I love meeting Ed. I'm going to miss people's names here, but we met Ed. We met, definitely Dominic. Cannot forget Dominic. We met Trent. Trent was a blast. Loved hanging out with Trent. Who else do you remember other names, T-Shirt, with people we met out there? Met Amy, of course, new friend of the channel. Man, there's so many. If I'm not saying your name, say it in chat. There's a couple others that we definitely are missing, but it was an absolute blast hanging out with them, hanging out with Matt. If you guys see us in chat, your friends in chat, come see us in person. I love in-person friends. With that said, though, we're going to go ahead and wrap up today's show. It was an absolute blast being in Nashville. It's a blast, though, being home, seeing my wife, seeing Brody. Being away from them is always hard. Being away from you guys in chat is always very, very hard. So I'm glad to be back with you. And with that said, we're going to wrap up today's show. Hit the like button on your way out if you enjoyed the episode. Hit subscribe if you are not. If you've been watching for a long time now, just in the shadows like me and T-Shroom, I guess, at the moment, and you have not hit that subscribe button, join the community here in YouTube. Go deeper. Go join our Discord, even if it's just the free version. Hang out with the bros. Grow together as we all work to help better our lives. That's what the bros are all about. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Adios.
Trying to make paper, turn that better to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. entries and exits worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA, shouted out loud on the PA. T-Shrooms News got the word, doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that better than cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots that bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros.
Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.